So Chris can hear us, but he's doing the recap, right?
Hello, stream. Welcome to Nerdy Coffee Co.'s D&D stream this lovely Friday evening. If the chat could please let me know whether I'm coming through. I have muted the lovely bunch of people at the bottom for now, so you won't be hearing them just yet. But it would be lovely. It would be lovely to hear or see from chat if you can hear me. Loud and clear. Awesome. There we go. So She's So Nerdy is definitely in the chat. First of all, welcome to our Friday evening chat D&D session. We have got a few notices first. To start off with, thank you very much for our 3 mods in the chat. She's So Nerdy, Nerdkind and Ginferno. If you guys have got any problems, need to ask any questions, tag them. I won't be very active in the chat as I'll be focusing on the game. And the players, whilst they will, some of them are watching the chat, it'll be on chat only for them. They hopefully will be paying attention to the game rather than the chat. With that being said, we have got a little notice. Because you guys on the stream are seeing the stream from my perspective of the DM, please remember that things you see on the screen, the players might not be able to see. And as some of them are watching the chat, please make sure you don't reveal anything in the chat that the players or the players' characters haven't yet seen. Before we begin, I would very much like to say a few shout-outs. Firstly, to Hobby Time at Healy's, because whilst he kept saying to me, ask me any questions, ask me any questions, ask me any questions about setting up this stream, I didn't actually ask him very many questions because his setup was quite easy to emulate, but such a clean setup, and I'm quite stubborn in asking for help, so I muddled through and figured it out myself. But thank you very much to Lewis, to Hobby Time at Healy's. If somebody could give him a shout out from here. It's been great to watch his streams and see how he does things, and hopefully some of that professionalism that he shows comes through in our stream. Why do shout outs not work? Because that should be correct. They didn't seem to work last time either. I don't know.
It had to be written in a certain way.
Um,
And I can't remember how it was meant to be written.
Maybe we haven't set them up properly in the back end. Is that something you can look into, Jen? And also, I'd love to give a shout out as well when we get them working to Rob Walker, Nerdy Regular, who for the second time in a week is doing a 24-hour charity stream, this time on his birthday. And apparently he's done the same thing for the last 5 years on his birthday. He's done a 24-hour charity stream for Special Effect, who raise money to kit out less able-bodied gamers with the kit they need to play the same games that we do without thinking about it, to allow them to have the same experiences that we do and make them feel included. And it's a fantastic charity. He's almost raised, last time I checked, £1,800, so he's doing fantastically well. And yeah, fantastic guy. So what I will do now is I'm going to unmute the players. We'll do a little mic check with them, and then I will do a short recap on where we are with the story. Welcome, players.
Anyway, the doctor told me. Oh, hi. Hi, everyone. Hello.
So, let's go down the line. Mark, say hello.
Hello.
James.
Hello.
Emma.
Hello!
Owen.
Hello.
Tom.
Good evening.
And Jace.
Hello.
Hopefully everybody in the chat will confirm that they heard them all. If anybody, if you guys could let me know whether the audio is coming through fine. And I will do a little recap for us now. So, our players, our characters, are playing in the world of the Iron Kingdoms. It's a steampunk fantasy setting from Privateer Press, where magic and the Industrial Revolution have combined to create some fairly unique, to create a fairly unique setting, where you would quite happily walk alongside a dwarf, a goblin, a troll, or a 10-foot tall autonomous steam-powered robot, and probably not bat an eyelid at any of them. It's absolutely my favourite setting there is, and I'm ecstatic to introduce my players to it and bring my players into the world that I love. So they started out having been hired 2 weeks ago to escort a convoy of goods from a town called Fellig to the city of Corvus. And for the first 2 weeks of the job, it went absolutely swimmingly. Until the last day, funnily enough, when a plucky group of swamp gobbers, goblins that live in the swamps, decided to try their luck and see if they could prize some of the precious cargo from our characters. They made good gains to start with, and managed to get one of the chests off the carriage and start making away with it, but our plucky characters quickly rallied and managed to chase them down and recover all of the cargo, with the only loss being the horse on one of the carriages. So they dusted themselves off, headed into the city, where they arrived at the church, which you can see in front of you on the map. This is the Church of Morrow in the centre of Corvus. Here they met Father Pandor Dumas, who asked them very nicely if they would investigate a couple or a series of grave robberies for him that had been plaguing the city over the last month, and in return he would give them board and lodging while they were doing so. So our band of adventurers had a good night's sleep, had a look around the church, and then in the morning they set off into the city to investigate these grave robberies. After a disastrous attempt to inquire about them at the tavern, thanks to the bawdy attempts by Solic's Dark Route.
You say disastrous, I say very noisy.
They decided then to head out to some of the various grave sites themselves, searching the northern graveyard in the city, where the slightly more middle and upper class people with money can buy plots and are buried. There they met one of the watch captains of the city and had a quick chat with him, and discovered that the names of two of the bodies that were... if anybody in the chat has more Twitter knowledge and can figure out why shout-outs aren't working, we've got some great people on it in the background, but if anybody's got any ideas, please let us know. We'd love to give shout-outs, but they don't seem to be working. Oh, Jin is on it. Awesome. Okay, back to the story. So they discovered a couple of the names of the graves that were robbed. From there, they headed out to the Eastern Boneyard, met with a rather dishevelled-looking character, who they fed quite nicely, and after which he was quite happy to tell them a little tale of the night of one of the grave robberies, where he saw a beautiful woman in a white dress gliding across the cemetery. Again, two more disturbed graves were discovered, and the names of the people. On their way back into the city, they stopped by a farm where another grave had been robbed, and at which point they managed to actually have a chat with the family behind it, and they discovered that the grandfather who was buried there was a juror in a very high-profile trial 10 years ago of a witch coven. Now, this didn't mean much initially, but heading back to the city, back into the city, they spoke to Father Dumas, and they've since discovered that all of the names and all of the bodies that have been dug up, they were all jurors in this Witchfire trial, and all of the jurors had passed away and have all since been exhumed. And that is where we rejoin our players this time. This revelation has just been given to them around the dinner table, and we will resume with Father Dumas giving them a little bit more information about what is going on.
What's the skinny Father D?
Bish.
So,
Bish. On the bish.
Father Dumas is sat at the head of the table while you are all enjoying your lovely dinner, and he's been fairly quiet during the conversation up to this point, clearly mulling over implications of what it might mean. And whilst you've been asking him about the
magistrate.
The magistrate, that's the one. Thank you.
Right,
Magos got stuck in my head, but I think that's the wrong system. The magistrate, Borlock, who was responsible for bringing the Witch Coven to justice, he is now a very powerful member of the town council, and you'd been asking questions about him. Father Dumas seemed uneasy at answering those questions, but upon scanning the room a little bit more and realising that he is in safe hands, and the staff members around him he trusts, he comes clean a little bit more. So, 10 years ago, when Magistrate Borlock was new to the council, he discovered the Witch Coven. He realised that he could use them to his own ends to further his political gains, and he blackmailed them into doing more and more nefarious deeds, all of which to further his political career. And as a result, is now the second most powerful man in the city, second only to the mayor. When the Witch Coven had ceased being useful, he exposed them. And unfortunately, whilst they were a benevolent coven beforehand, the acts they had done to get him into power very much were not. They were convicted, they were tried, they were convicted, and they were all executed. 4 of the witches were buried in a tomb about a day's ride outside the city. And that is where I would suggest you begin your investigations on the morrow. And the last one, Lexaria Kiana, was entombed on site here on the church grounds, where the church and Morrow could keep an eye out and make sure nothing untoward would happen. As I said last time, I will have a chat. I will speak to my niece Alexia and inquire about her. Whether she's got any involvement in this. You claim that she's been visiting the grave sites, but your evidence is circumstantial at best. So I think for now I should speak to her alone. But rest assured, I will get to the bottom of this. It is in everybody's best interests to get this sorted out as soon as possible. So please eat up, rest up. And I will provide you horses or a cart and horses to head up to the witch's tomb tomorrow if you are happy to do so.
Can I go and investigate Lexaria's tomb?
By all means, it's not quite dark yet. It's getting there, but regardless, you can take a torch out. You can go and have a look at the tomb. That is not a problem at all. It's here on church grounds. People come and see it. Those who've known about it or who've heard about the Witchfire trials. It's not a secret. By all means, just don't.
Bish, listen to me. Listen, Bish. I think I'm thinking the same thing as Glint's thinking. Is that you were giving us board and lodgings for doing a little bit of a investigation, which has now turned into witches being dug up out of the ground, which we've discovered, which is now turned into, or jurors being dug up out of the ground. I don't know what I'm saying. Jurors being dug up out of the ground from a witch trial. This is suddenly seeming like something that I'm sure the church could spare some coin towards.
I was thinking exactly the same thing, Brother Solix. So good.
I'm gonna go look at this tomb. I'm gonna let you guys negotiate this.
I think we'll go with her as well.
Father Damas
Come on.
does.
We'll have that.
He doesn't look put out at all at the question of coin. Of course, we will remunerate you for your services. I wouldn't ask you to risk anything. I initially thought it was just simply some grave robberies that needed looking into. Now that it's turned into more, I will, of course, compensate you for your services.
You are too kind, Bish.
What a
Too
freaky-
kind. Thank you.
Thank you. How much, though, before we continue being too faithful?
Oh, I was hoping you weren't going to ask that. So,
Well, what we've got is we've got some sound financial logic, okay? Because what I learned is that I could work for 2 weeks and earn 25 gold. And then my friend Glint over here did some performing in the square
Well, half an
for
hour.
less than half an hour. And how much did you get, Brother Glint?
Oh, I made about 14 gold, but I am an
14
exceptional
gold!
performer.
14 gold! So somewhere along the lines, financially, there's been a cock-up. So I would very much think that I would like more than 25 gold for this, please.
Maybe you should buy yourself a guitar.
I've got a
I'm just
bodron.
following swords.
I will offer you, provided you are expedient in your investigations, I will offer you 25 gold per day.
Daily.
It's gonna take 7 weeks.
84 years later.
No, thank you, Bish. That is a very kind offer.
The religious folk are all very honourable and stick to their word. We do not need a deposit at all. Wink. No, we're fine, sweetie. You carry on. We're going to go look in this tomb at some dead things.
So, those heading outside to the tomb of Lexaria Kiano.
Where am I going? 'Cause I have no idea where the tomb is. I just know it's outside.
It's this one right here.
Okay. The one with a massive
Okay.
cross.
Yes, the one with the big cross on the top.
Don't stand on it, Helga.
I plan to dance on it.
Right, I went with yeah. Well, I've forgotten I can move my character. Aha!
Yes, you can move your character.
Aha!
Magic!
Guys, I've just brought down my volume on my mic slightly. Is that okay?
So-
I just saw in the chat that I was a bit loud.
Yeah,
Can you go Solix loud?
Can I go Solix? Is that a bit better for everyone?
I mean,
I don't wanna deafen
it works for
everyone
me.
early
I turned you down on my end, which would have dropped your volume in chat, but as Howard's mentioned, it was still a little bit crackly. But I think that's, yeah.
It's my husky demeanour.
We got a sounds better and
Awesome.
now
So,
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry, chat.
on the tomb, you see here lies Lexaria Kiano, tried and convicted as a witch. Let this be a warning to others. It's a fairly plain tomb. None of them in the grounds are particularly ornate. This one doesn't stand out massively from the others. It's sealed, and there's not a lot you can really see.
I'm going to
from the
walk
outside.
up and I'm going to tap on the lid.
Okay. It's
You
very.
do that first before I say my idea.
It's a very solid stone. There's no kind of echo or anything. You can't hear inside.
Nothing taps back.
I'm just gonna let out a long whistle. I'm gonna let out a long whistle and say, "Is anyone else annoyed that we didn't notice this grave earlier?"
Well, you tend to find that there's a lot of graves in graveyards and churchyards.
you never know who's who until you read it, I guess.
Can we open this tomb?
It's like we're having a party around this thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just a bunch of goths in the graveyard.
And also to point out as well, Solid, we didn't know her name and we didn't know that this is one of the witches before the Bish told us.
That's true.
Oh, sorry, everyone.
So, wait, I mean, what do we do?
I mean, what are we looking to get from this grave? 'Cause I think we need to go and have a look at the other graveyards.
I think we should open it.
I was wondering, could we open it?
I
We
mean,
need to open it.
isn't it a bit? Isn't it a
Nah,
sacrilegious?
let's get it open.
We are on church grounds. It's probably not a great idea to open coffins when there's a bunch of grave robberies going on.
We won't tell the bitch. We'll just rip the lid off and put it back on again.
Exactly. I
Really
like the
not a
sound
good
of.
idea.
I like the sound of this.
I
Right,
don't.
take the lid off.
Yeah. I don't believe that is what this would have wanted.
No, I honestly think we need to go and have a look at the other two graves. The bin robbed, the
Can we agree?
Fullerton Dunbright.
Can we agree though? If the other ones are open, we can open this one.
I mean, what's he going to give to us though?
I don't know. I just want to open it.
No,
If there's no body in there and it's not decomposed, then we've got an issue.
Yeah.
Because that means she ain't dead.
I think we need to find out more information.
I'm not convinced this woman's dead.
Right, okay, that's fine. But let's go and have a look at the other two people's first.
Yeah, let's follow the Bish's advice. Let's go and see these other places.
Yeah.
So upon hearing your animated discussion outside, the father comes out the back door.
Hello.
I can assure you that Lexaria is entombed in there. I was present when her body was placed in there. I was present when that tomb was sealed, and it has not been unsealed since.
Fish, in fairness, if magic had opened the tomb and she'd escaped, you wouldn't know.
If magic had opened the tomb, then when it happened, there would have been magical...
Wards! You've got wards!
Yes, that as well. And none of those have been disturbed.
You can't know for certain, though. You're only 99% sure. That 1%, there's always 1%.
Win, sweetie.
If you can
Give it
bring
up.
me some evidence to suggest that Lexaria's body is no longer in that tomb, then we can have that discussion. Until then, that tomb is staying sealed.
Seems
Alright.
fair enough to me.
I totally agree.
25 gold a day. It's fine.
Just have to leave it.
Yeah.
Right, so where are we
Sleep on it.
going to go? We're going to go Fullerton, which is north, or Sunbright, which is south.
I thought we were going tomb raiding.
Yeah, we the good old Duran Run father, the Duran Run, told us that all of those things have linked, so we've done that now, and now we're heading to the witches' tombs, where the other witches were buried.
Yes.
On
Yeah.
the outside, yeah.
So we've discovered that all of the jurors have been exhumed, and I'll give you a small map and directions to get to where the witches that were the part of the coven where they themselves were interred.
Hold on. That's just the most important thing. Bish, you're sending us packed lunches.
I will provide you with a day's worth of rations. Yes, as I said originally, the board and lodgings still stands.
He's a good one. This sort. He's a good sort.
Are you giving us horses?
Yes, you can borrow from the from the church stables.
Can I have a donkey instead? I'm only small. I'm only a dwarf.
Oh, but we can ride horses. Don't ride humans. If I tell
I've
you
seen
what you
many
can
a
ride.
dwarf ride.